We should be paying less in taxes. The United States is one of the countries that pays the most amount of taxes. We don't get free education or free healthcare like all the countries in Europe. Is this correct? I will show you the facts on how much other countries pay in taxes and higher education compared to the US. So you have strong points on the table next time you have a conversation, and you know where actually your money is going. The Biden-Harris administration is proposing an increase on taxation in America. You know, the federal tax income bracket from 37% to 39.6% for the highest income earners, but also an increase in Social Security tax, corporate tax, and capital gain tax. I hear a lot of people complaining about their current tax situation without these changes going into effect. And I hear things such as,
I pay so much money in taxes since I work on my own. I pay more than 50% in taxes, and it's a lot since I don't get anything for free. I wish my taxes paid for the education of my son instead of me banking $40,000 in a state university. I'm gonna end up with more than $100,000 in debt. Where are my taxes?
These are common concerns of people, and I totally get it. We wished that we lived in a country where education was for free and healthcare was for free. But we also got the same benefits as in America to start a business and to be a high income earner. So I went on and did some good research for you because this topic fascinates me as well. And I found really interesting information. The United States, commonly known as America, is ranked 31 in a list of 41 countries according to the Tax Foundation. They looked at taxes as a percentage of GDP, as gross domestic product. The US had 24.3%, while the average of the other countries was at 32%. 4 European countries tax in excess of 40% of GDP. And these are France, Belgium, Denmark, and Sweden. Only Ireland lands a smaller tax percentage to GDP compared to the US.
But Jaime, what is this tax percentage to GDP comparison BS? Show us the details.
I will show you the details as soon as you hit the like button to help grow my channel. And you know what? It's actually tax-free. I took into account a great report, which I will link below in the description so you can check out, from Gustav Fritzen and Jacob Lundberg from Tax Foundation, in which they got 41 countries from the OECD and the European Union. OECD, just for your information, it's Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development. So the measurement here is not just tax, it's effective marginal tax rate, which is a fancy name for total tax paid on high income earners and adding Social Security and consumption taxes into the mix. You have a country like Sweden in number 1 with 76% effective tax rate. And you have a country like Bulgaria at the very end of the list with only a 29%. You can see in this chart that I'm going to show you right now that the countries that are taxed the most are usually in the regions of Nordic and Western Europe. You can also see that Anglo-Saxons are taxed almost the least. But where does the US stand in all of this? Let me show you. The reason why I need to consider effective marginal tax rates and not just income tax is because we need to understand all the tax burden that a person gets while increasing their income by $1, both for the person and the employer or business. And there have been people around proposing 80% tax.
Nope.
Like the left economists Emmanuel Saez and Thomas Piketty. And one person that you should know, which is Alexandra Ocasio-Cortez. She actually promoted that the US be taxed 70%.
Nope.
Okay, so let me show you this nice map of Europe over here. where you can see most of the countries in the list and their effective tax marginal rates. You got number 1 in the list, which is Sweden with 76%, followed by Slovenia, Belgium, Portugal, and Finland, all of them with more than 70% tax. But one thing you need to understand before we go on is the complexity of getting these kinds of calculations, because every system is different. Every country has a central system tax and a consumption tax, which is the sales tax in the US or the VAT in Europe. 11 countries in the list impose local or regional taxes, and 13 of them have solidarity contributions or similar surtaxes on higher incomes. 23 of them levy uncapped Social Security contributions on employees, and 26 of them on employers. So you see how complex this is. If we can see this next chart with all the list of the 41 countries and their effective tax marginal rates, you can see that you not only find European countries, but there's also countries from America, countries from Asia. They're all there, so you can check them out. And the interesting thing about this chart is that it's split by income tax, Social Security tax, payroll tax, and consumption tax. So you can see a lot of information here. And you can see that the US ranks number 32 on the list with an effective tax marginal rate of 47%.
But Jaime, where are you taking these numbers from? You're actually taking numbers out of a hat.
Okay, in this other chart, you can see the actual breakdown per country. For the US, the highest income bracket today is 37%. Then you add a 5.08% for state or local taxes. Remember, this is the average of state and local taxes for high income earners. Then you got the payroll tax, which is Medicare. You got Social Security tax, which is 2.35%. And you got the consumption tax here, which in this chart is a 4%. These are complex formulas. It's not just a base addition. So if you want to check out the formulas, I will link below the report in the description.
But Jaime, I pay 6.2% in Social Security and 8.25% in sales tax. What are you talking about?
Remember, I'm taking into account the high income earners, so the ones in the highest brackets. Social Security is capped today at $137,700. And there's also sales tax in different states, and some states do not charge for it, and also some things charge tax and some things don't. So this is taking everything into account. The real problem here is that we're getting an increase in taxation next year in 2021 with the new administration. So our 37% high income bracket is gonna go to 39.6, and the Social Security, that 2.5, 2.4, is gonna go up to a 6.2%. Why? Because now it's not gonna be capped anymore. So the US is gonna go from rank 32 to a rank 19 on the list with an effective tax marginal rate of 53.7%. And this is where it gets very important, so stay with me. The interesting point they made on this report is that there are consequences of taxing a country excessively on high income earners in the short run and in the long run. In the short run, high marginal tax rates induce tax avoidance and tax evasion and can cause high income earners to reduce their hours and work effort. You're pretty much demotivating. In the long run, high tax marginal rates can affect career choices and migration decisions. They also lower the return on investment on education and entrepreneurship. So why do you think the US is such a great place to start a business? Why do you think also this country is so good to become a high income earner or a high income employee? Why is this just such a great place to live? Why are there so many migrants of the other 40 countries in the list here in America? And how many Americans actually migrate to those countries in comparison? But the real reasons why people complain about their taxes are two. One,
they do not receive the same benefits as the other countries in the list. And two, they do not have the slightest clue on what they're saying.
I hope you're in the number one category. But anyway, if not, watch until the end of this video so you learn something new about it. It is hard to say that the US pays little in taxes compared to other countries because of the social programs offered. It's like comparing apples to oranges. One interesting fact is that the US actually spends 25% of its tax income on social programs versus a 26% average of the 41 countries. And this is actually low compared to a country like Japan, where they spend 40% of their income there. But Japan doesn't tax unemployment benefits, for example. And these taxes for social programs includes Social Security, disability, and retirement, as well as unemployment benefits. So these unemployment benefits have been very useful for millions of people in America during this pandemic. And there is yet another kind of tax called excise tax, or value-added tax, which all 41 countries in the list have. These are imposed into the country's goods and services. The US only imposes an 18% of its tax revenue on these kinds of taxes, versus a 32% average of the other 41 countries. And the country who created it, France, in 1950, is one of the countries with the biggest percentage of tax versus GDP. Now, let me give you some facts on how to impress your friends next time you have a conversation. And also, they're gonna be very interesting for you to know. A funny fact to know is that the US has the most complex tax return in any developed country in the world. It takes Americans about 6 billion hours to prepare their taxes every year, and they spend $10 billion in professional tax services and $2 billion in tax software. Just as a comparison, a country like Japan, each individual takes an average of 15 minutes to prepare their tax returns. So now that you understand where the US stands with the OECD and the European Union, let's talk about why the United States cannot be taxed as heavily as the other countries. There are two main factors here that concern people about going from a rank 32 to probably a rank 19 in taxes with the new administration. The first factor is we do not get free education in America. So who does? Well, out of the 36 countries of the OECD, only 7 countries give their higher education for free. Higher education means college, by the way. These countries are Sweden, Denmark, Finland, Ireland, Iceland, Norway, and the Czech Republic. All of the other countries charge for their college education. And Sweden is the only country in the world that has public and private universities for free for Europeans. And in that country, almost 70% of people attend college every year. But how much does it cost to attend college for the countries with higher marginal tax rates? I prepared this really nice chart for you so you can see all the different costs of education in countries where people say that it's actually free for you to study college, which is not accurate. Some countries, it's 100% free for people from the European Union. Some countries will charge only international students, and some countries won't charge anyone in the list. I added also the cost of private education in each of the countries, which is not free, except for Sweden. And I also added the United States at the very end of the list, so you can compare. So the countries that do charge for college, they charge between 170 and 5,000 euros per year. And the UK, being the most expensive, is 6,000 pounds per year average for higher education. But where does the US stand here? Well, the US has an in-state university average of $9,800 a year. But if you just go out of state, then it becomes as expensive as being in a private university in Europe, which is around $22,000 a year. And don't get me started if you go to a private university here in America. You're looking at an average of $35,000 a year for your college education. So as you can see, the US has a much higher cost of education than the rest of the countries in Europe. But the taxes are also less than the other countries. So they make up for it. If this new administration wants to charge us more for taxes, then I think it's a good idea for us to get at least a 50% subsidized in education for these prices to be competitive. What do you think? Let me know below in the comment section. And the second reason why people don't want to get taxed as much as the other countries on the list is because of health care costs. But that, my friend, is a topic of a different video. If you want me to talk about healthcare, how does the US compare versus the OECD and the European Union countries, let me know in the comment section below and I will definitely go for it. Now let me give you the foreigner insight for this video. For this insight, I will give you my particular experience on college education and taxes. Any college education today is getting hammered by social media as something that is not useful anymore. People don't need it to be successful, and the return on investment is very low. You end up with a lot of debt, and actually it's very hard to pay back because of the low salaries whenever you come out. And also those salaries don't go up on par with inflation or the cost of education. And you know what? I agree with everything. But this is a message for parents and future parents. You can act now and prevent this from happening. Let me tell you that there is a way you can set aside some money from your future child's education. And if your child chooses not to go to college when he or she is 18, you can use that money for a good cause like starting a business or for a down payment of a house. They will have a good $150,000 to invest in future money. My education for me, it brought me into this great country. But my will and drive got me to create this channel and be where I am now. I mean, I graduated with another 220 classmates. Same degree, same university, same options. But right now I'm considered of the top earners of that list. And without the help of my parents. Just because of my decisions that I've taken in life. As Mr. Dave Ramsey said in his baby steps, taking care of your college education now is a really good thing to do. I mean, setting up a fund for 18 years will ensure that there is no debt in the first place. So education for free. It doesn't hurt to have a fund like this. You can also see it as a savings account. So get in touch with an agent and look at your options on how to do this. But the most important thing is that you teach them about personal finances with the help of this and many other channels. Stop complaining about your taxes and use all your brain power to create more income. And in other videos, I will show you how to create entities so you liberate yourself more on taxation. And there's actually a very good video that I uploaded a little while ago about taxes in the other quadrants, which I will link below in the description. So make sure that you check out my book, A Foreigner in America Can Succeed, which you can download it here. And also I have really good information on my website, theforeignerinamerika.com. I'm gonna be adding resources there so you can check them out. And check out as well my Facebook and Instagram, since I post almost every day. And I'll be coming up with a new sales training next year, which is very, very solid. Go ahead and hit the like button, subscribe to my channel and hit the notification bell so you don't miss any one of my weekly videos, which next year I'll be posting twice a week. But until then, I'll see you next time.